everyone. I'm Paul Everton, the host here at the Truth Table. It's been almost a year now since we begun, and a lot has happened. We've had a lot of conversations with politicians, nurses, and covering all sorts of topics from religion to um, um, what's in the water and the rain. But if you like the content and you'd like to see more, please feel free to subscribe, like, and donate if you can, and become a member. These things will help the algorithms, and they will help keep this show going. I want to thank Marnie and Patricia for your donations. You've extended the life by a few months of the Truth Table on this stream. So thank you very much. I appreciate it for keeping this boat afloat. If you'd like more content, then please feel free to engage and involve yourself in this show. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you for joining me here. And welcome to the Truth Table, episode 85. Today we're going to talk about starfish and how it can free our friends and family from the credit enslavement. My guest also wrote a book called The Red Mark on God's Forehead, explaining the way of God more accurately to his people. The Forward Clarion Review said, The Red Mark on God's Forehead is an impressive religious book that ties together Hebrew and Christian scriptures to show a strong need for reforming the church. Now, in the future episodes, it also comes with coffee if you buy a book. The website will be on the ticker. Also for starfish, if our topic tonight, if you would like to become a member, we will share the details for that as well. But we will do a future show on the book. A published author, a friend, a rabbi, and someone who also ran in the Ontario election. So also a patriot and a good friend and a brother. I'd like to thank Darryl for coming on the show. Welcome, Darryl. Let me just remove that so you can.
Thanks for having me, Paul. It's great to be here tonight. It's a privilege to be sharing with everybody.
I think we might have met before even, Jimmy's. But
Yes.
I gave you the share tab so you can share and tell people about starfish and how it can save them from this credit enslavement. Like even companies don't like using these credit cards companies because of the machines and the charges and all that thing. But today we have an opportunity to learn about something new and something that could be very beneficial to your wallet. Correct? And that's what we're here about. We're here about your wallet. What's in your wallet? Freedom 55 was a lie, was it not?
It certainly was. Well, perhaps at one time, if you played your cards right and you did things the way that you were supposed to, then, maybe you could have retired early. And if, everything kind of fell into place for you. But we're living in a time now where with the massive amount of credit that has been issued, the huge amount of money that has been printed out of nothing, and a lot of your viewers will probably be familiar with the history of like the Federal Reserve when it got launched in 1913, and how a central bank now what they do is they print money out of nothing, but they charge us for our hard-earned labor, and it goes way back. And what we find is that there's a whole bunch of people right now who, some of whom might not have even been doing all that badly, let's say 5-10 years ago, who are struggling, who can't make ends meet, jobs are disappearing, We've now got conversations between Trump and Carney about maybe eliminating the auto industry. you know, um, Canada is facing some very, very tough times. The United States is facing some very hard times. And the problem is that if you just talk about what the problem is, then all you do is you get depressed. But if we have a solution, and what I'm always thankful for is God always provides a way out. There is no, this is a hopeless situation. Because when you are faithful to him, and, even if you've struggled with that, he's a God of mercy, he's a God of grace. And what I have been presented with, and what I want to share with everybody tonight, is an amazing opportunity that will help your listeners save money on their day-to-day purchases like gas, groceries, and restaurants and things like that, but also that they could be making money in helping build this community. And so a bit of a background. First of all, my primary line of work is as a Messianic rabbi. I've been doing that for over 20 years. I've been in ministry now. And that's, where the impetus came to write the book. And one of the reasons why I'm very passionate about teaching the Bible is because it helps us change our lives. It helps us make better decisions. The reason why we have trouble in life is usually because of bad thinking. And bad thinking leads to bad decisions. Bad decisions produces bad results in our lives. And the cycle continues. And when I teach the Bible, what I want to do is I want to help people make better decisions. And, if you zero in, let's say on Proverbs and stuff like that, the book of wisdom, Ecclesiastes, same type of thing, is that it's trying to help us to, God is trying to align us with his way of thinking, because he's a God of success. He's a God of prosperity. And God wants prosperity for us. He wants us to be successful. He wants us to flourish in this life. He didn't put us in this world to be enslaved to something. As a matter of fact, you listen to what Jesus said. He came to set the captives free. And yet you look around, and Christians especially, but everybody in the world is struggling right now. We're struggling with debt. Oh, what does the Bible say about debt? Yes. Proverbs 13:22 says that the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. So debt is a form of enslavement, which Yeshua, Jesus, came to set us free from. So there's a disconnect that we're dealing with here. And if I look at, if I focus on the Old Covenant scriptures, God's design for us was to prosper. He says in Deuteronomy 28:13, you will be the head, not the tail. He says in Deuteronomy 8:18 that I have given you the power to create wealth. And those are promises that we tend to forget about because we don't have the thinking and the wisdom. And so the question is what do we do? Why do we have this problem? Well, and I'll share a presentation here that will, I think, help explain that. Where are we here? All right. We can see that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the tagline of the company is the life you've always wanted. And that's defined differently by everybody. But, let's start off with where we're at and where we want to be. So our current financial position is usually quite a ways from where we want to be. What do people want from life? People want time. People want money. They want freedom. It'd be nice to be able to wake up when I'm done sleeping as opposed to an alarm clock. We have alarms in our lives usually as a warning. And so if you're being woken up to an alarm clock, that's a warning that something that is not good for you is about to happen. People want security, and that's being taken away from us. We might want to be able to support family. What about having a lifestyle where we got to ask ourselves? I've asked people, where would you travel to if you can go anywhere in the world? And some people have not been able to answer that because they haven't even spent time thinking about it, since it's not an option for them. Do they want to go to, maybe a Caribbean island, or maybe a place like Bora Bora, or, do a trip to Israel and see, or Greece, or, see the ancient ruins or things like that. Wherever it is that you want to go, how many people have the ability to do that? And how many people have the ability to do that without financing it? Maybe you want to increase your giving. I work with a number of pastors in East Africa, in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda. I've got another friend over in India, and these guys are constantly struggling. Well, what if we could make enough money where we can just, send them for what they need, instead of having to, have them beg for it and this and that and the other thing. And most importantly, what kind of legacy we're going to leave. And again, the book of Proverbs tells us that a righteous man leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren. And yet what we're bequeathing to our kids and our grandkids now is probably debt. And it's not that people are making really poor decisions. It's that we have a system that is rigged against us. And your listeners are probably quite familiar with the financial system, and the primary founder of this company, Orrin Woodward, he calls it the financial matrix, based on the movie 1999 with Keanu Reeves, of that name, where everything is fake. What we're living in isn't real. It's all manufactured by artificial intelligence. And there's a big component to that. But when you have a financial system, and it's the banking cartels, that we have debts, we have fees, we have inflation, we have taxes, we've got all these punitive things that are coming against our finances, and it's preventing us from living the life that we always wanted. Now, you're not going to be able to fight against this system. You try to come up against the banks, and what's going to happen? You're going to lose. Why? Because to them, you are an asset. And so they're not going to want to lose that. It's kind of like with the pharmaceutical companies. They don't want you to get better. What they want you to do is continue to be sick and take their medication so that they can earn money off of you. What I think someone said one time, that Pfizer has been in business for 175 years and has not produced one cure for one disease. 175 years. But boy, oh boy, they've created a lot of income for a lot of medications. And so it's the same thing with our financial system. So what do we do? If we're not going to be able to overcome the banking system, then what we have to do is we have to create a way out. We have to bypass this existing system so that we're not enslaved. And if you're using credit cards and if you're using debit cards, you're playing their game and on their terms. And Robert Kiyosaki, he wrote back probably about 15 years ago, a book called maybe even 20 years ago, called The Cash Flow Quadrant. And what he said is that there's 4 ways of making money. Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, co-wrote Art of the Deal with Donald Trump, and is famous for actually designing the Velcro wallet. And what he said in the cash flow quadrant is that we were taught to be employees or self-employed. So any of us who ever went to university or college or whatever, we were taught how to be a good worker. And 95% of the people fight over 5% of the money on this side of the quadrant, because there's no leverage. You trade time for money. And either you're getting paid by hour or salary or, piecework, let's say, commission. If you own your own business, it's based on the number of clients. So to give you an example, we got a phone call today, my son and I, from an old neighbor of ours in the neighborhood we used to live in. Calls up and says his lawnmower broke, and can we come take care of his lawn for him? Sure. So we go and we mowed the lawn, and he sent me the money. That's great. But the only way that I can make more money is by mowing more lawns. And if I'm not making enough money mowing lawns, then I'm never going to get to the life that I've always wanted. I'm limited by the amount of time that I trade for money. And we take our most valuable asset, which is time by far, and we trade it to help someone else build their goals and dreams. And if you're self-employed, and I laud people who are doing that. I've been a serial entrepreneur my whole life. I've started many businesses. But whether you're employed or self-employed, you have no leverage. And what we're taught is go to school, get good grades, get a good job, work for 45 years, and retire at 65 on a third to a half of what you were struggling with when you were fully employed. And what that's led to is, something that's kind of a contradiction. It's a retirement job. You think of the Walmart greeters. Do they really want to be there? Unlikely, but they have no choice in the matter. And so while this may have worked in the 70s and 80s, now it's not a feasible thing. Who's hiring people and who works for the same company for 45 years now? There are very, very few people. And if they do, you're not retiring in comfort unless you've got a really good job and there is a very generous, pension contribution and all that kind of stuff. Those days are long gone. I mean, Oshawa, they used to have, 30, 40,000 people working at the GM plant over there. And I don't even know if there's anybody left anymore. And Trump certainly wants to put an end to that altogether. So what we're being taught in the schools, Paul, doesn't work anymore. And yet this is still what we're being sold. You've got to go to school. Mm-hmm. You've got to get a post-secondary education. Why? I'm going to spend $10,000 to $15,000 a year plus expenses. Maybe I'll get a job, or maybe I'll finish the degree that I started. And a lot of people kind of course correct. They realize they don't want to do what they were studying. And then it's something like 73% of people who graduate will not work in the field that they study. So how much is that education really worth? And the reason why this doesn't work anymore is the financial system is geared against us. So again, you got the financial matrix, you got the banking cartel, the central banks all over the world, International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, all these different institutions. And what they do is they produce money out of nothing. It's not based on anything ever since Nixon took us off the gold standard back in 71. Yep. And now they just print money. They don't even print it anymore. It's all digital. It's just so when the bank sends you a credit card with $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 limit, do you think they've got that in their vaults? No, it's fake money, but you certainly have to pay it back, and at usurious interest rates. And so we've got three different sectors of society. You've got government. Well, when they run up debts, do they make money? No. So where does that come from? Our taxes. When businesses borrow money through, bonds or something like that, we pay that back through higher taxes. And then, of course, we've got personal household debt. So it's only one payer for all three different types of debt, and that's us. And Orrin Woodward, in his book Insidious that he wrote, which is one of the best books I have ever read on finance, because it explains the history of our money system and how it got to where it is. And what he says is that the American debt, which took 200 years to get to $2 trillion, is now at almost $100 trillion. Now you're asking yourself, what's $1 trillion? If you took $1 bills and stacked them up, they'd go to the moon and back something like 4 times. It's an astronomical amount of money. And the United States back in 2023 increased its debt by $2 trillion.
Yeah, and it's all stolen.
Well, of course,
and that's all stolen money. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
I think what happened? It happened. The same thing with the Federal Reserve in 1913 happened in Canada with the Bank of Canada Act in 1974 with Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Yeah. And that's when we started needing food kitchens and housing, and we had none of those before, and we had never had a debt over $50 billion. So, yeah, it's definitely theft and doing things with the money that we don't agree with. So there's no more consent anymore. Sorry to interrupt. Please
No,
continue.
not at all. And if there's a comment that you want to highlight from people, then by all means, we'd love some feedback along the way.
100%.
Make sure people are engaged. So what is the way out? Okay, so now that I've depressed everybody, the solution isn't to go live on a desert island and live off the grid, although if that's the way you're wired, then that's fine. But no, how do the successful people operate? What do they do differently? 5% of the people who control 95% of the money, they either have a business as opposed to being self-employed where you are the business, or they're investors. And, by investors, I mean hedge fund managers and, people who play markets for the living. And if they lost $1 million, they could still go to sleep at night because, they're making $2 million somewhere else. That sector, you need money to play in. But a B business, Kiyosaki says, the difference between that and someone who's self-employed is that the business owner has leverage. So if you take the owner of a Tim Hortons franchise, for instance, if you walk in there, there's a good chance the owner won't be there. You go into McDonald's franchise, I'd lay money on the fact that the owner is not there. They never are. There are some employees who don't even know who the owner is. Why? Because they have, in the franchise model, they have leverage. And so you have other people who are working for you. And it's a model that works. The problem is that number one, when it comes to Tim Hortons, and by the way, these are not successful because they make the best product. Tim Hortons doesn't make the best coffee out there. You may be biased that way, and you make like your Tims, and God bless you, and no one's gonna pick a fight with you on that. But I think most people.
I think you might have the best coffee.
I have pretty good coffee. That is true, because I've got a spicy coffee that a friend of mine roasts for me. It's my blend of coffee that she makes for me, and anybody can get it. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing coffee. It's organic. It's got pepper and pepper oils mixed in. But that's not mainstream. And same thing with McDonald's. Does McDonald's have the most successful franchise in the world because they make the best burgers? Heck no. We had barbecue burgers tonight that my wife made. And I can tell you, they are much, much better than what McDonald's makes. The problem is that we don't have leverage. And the reason why people go to a McDonald's or go to a Tim Hortons is because they know what they're going to get. No matter where you go in the world, you go to a McDonald's franchise, and number one is going to be the Big Mac combo on the menu. The fryers are over there, the washrooms are over there. It's the same no matter where you go. When you have
now that you mentioned your wife will be my guest next week. Talk about the homeschooling program she's involved in. I look forward to that show next week. So join us for that. Sorry to deflect again. But yes, I would say you probably have the best burgers and the best coffee.
Yeah, but I don't have leverage. So I'm not able to get my goals and dreams by selling those things, is all I'm saying with that. And so, what is the solution? How do we get into this business thing? And if you want to own a Tim Hortons franchise, which is pretty much a license to print money, I mean, you drive past them in the morning when people are going to work, and you've got a lineup in the drive-thru. So you're going to make money, but it's going to cost you $1 million to get in the game. So how do we turn the problem into an opportunity? How do we get into this franchise model, as it were? Well, let's focus on what the problem is. And I have had a great passion for many years about financial literacy. And when I originally joined the Starfish community, the business is called Life Leadership. Right after I joined, they had come up with a product called the Financial Fitness Pack. And it was a workbook, and there was 9 CDs in here. And, this is about 10 years old now. And it talked about the offense, the defense, and even the playing field. And so very much like Dave Ramsey rages on about debt. The problem is he doesn't give you a solution as to how to make more money. And so what these guys did is they created a business around that. And we had people who got out of millions of dollars of debt using this program. It was phenomenal because it just lays out common sense understanding about money, and gets people to think rationally instead of emotionally about it. Because if you make emotional decisions about money, it's going to get you into trouble, and that's what credit cards do. They've actually proven that when you buy something with cash, there's actually pain receptors in your brain that get set off. It's like, I got to put this money down. When it comes to a credit card, though, there are no pain receptors. So people, even if you do pay it off, which most people don't, but even if you do, people tend to spend about 20 to 30% more because, I'll take care of it later.
Yeah.
And we've been conditioned to think about that.
And a lot of holidays are part of the problem too, because they're all spend. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, like they're all like ways to spend. They're all marketed. Even Easter, and then they sell sugar to children, sugary treats that aren't good for them.
Yeah,
but that's another topic altogether.
And we just celebrated one today. And how many people went and, probably used their credit card, take mom out for breakfast or lunch or dinner, sell it, buying them roses, whatever the case may be. And listen, as a matter of fact, my wife and I did a show this morning on lambnetwork.tv called The Threshing Floor. And we talked about Mother's Day. And is it okay for believers? Yeah, sure. There's no problem with celebrating it. The question is, what is your motivation?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the credit card industry, what it's convinced us to do is to buy using money that they create out of nothing and then pay it back. And so North American households spend about $5,000 yearly on credit cards, $1,500 in transaction fees. So even if you pay off your credit card every month on time, you're still attributing $1,500 a year through using debit or credit at the store that the merchants get charged on, which they therefore raise prices for. And then people will pay $3,500 a year on average, compound interest. That's a huge penalty. Yep. Credit card companies.
It's mafia rates.
The Bible talks about warns against usury.
Money changers?
Pardon me?
Yeah, usury. Yes, exactly.
And what is usury? Yes. Usury, it's not a defined amount. It's not like, 2% is okay, but 5% is usury. It is extracting interest from people who can't afford it. It's taking advantage of those who are in a desperate situation. And one of the things that was incorporated into the Bible in the life cycle of ancient Israel was the Shemitah, was the sabbatical year, and then the Jubilee year after every 50 years. And one of the characteristics of both of those is that the debts were reset. And so God had a mechanism put into society to ensure that if someone got into trouble, that there was a way out. And what it also demonstrated is that everything on the earth belonged to him. And so therefore, we can't hoard up things and take advantage of people because, the earth belongs to the Lord and thereof. So you have...
And that's why I can't wait to have our next show together to talk about your book. So I'm actually very excited about that show. I just wanted to put that in there. So I look forward to that.
All right.
Sharing that book with everybody.
So the credit card companies have an income. Just the credit cards, never mind the banks on mortgages and lines of credit and all these, just credit cards alone. $300 billion a year. So it's matching 5 million of North America's average incomes. $60,000 a year, let's say. 300 billion a year. That is more than the NHL, the NFL, the music industry in Hollywood all combined together. And that is just by charging us to use our own money. And cash, and people say, well, my credit card gives me 2% back. Well, A, is that really making a difference in your life? B, where do you think they get the 2% from? By charging your neighbor who can't afford to pay for her food, and so she has to put it on credit, by charging her 25%. It is absolutely insidious, like the title of Warren's book. So what we have designed at the Life Leadership business through the Starfish platform is called the Consumer Rebellion. And although rebellion is frowned upon in the Bible when it's against a good government, when you're fighting against evil, we're actually expected to. And, I've done a lot of teaching on Romans 13 about submitting to your governing authorities, but it says, if you do evil, be afraid. Well, if the government tells you to do evil and you submit to that, you need to be afraid. We are to rebel against that. If you look at Mordecai, you look at Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, better well known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, for Daniel, for Paul and Peter and Silas and Barnabas.
Yeah.
All of these.
Proverbs 16 to 19. Lying tongue, hands shed of innocent blood. Hands that shed innocent blood. It's Proverbs 6:16 to 19. Shows all the things that the Lord hates.
Yeah.
So hate is definitely a passion. It should not be criminalized, because people hate us, and I don't expect them to be in jail for hating me. They, they have that right as far as I'm concerned. But
right. So what is the Consumer Rebellion? The Consumer Rebellion utilizes something very simple. It's a platform. And every successful company nowadays pretty much uses that. I mean, if you look at Facebook, what is Facebook? It's a platform where you get to connect with your friends and they get to keep track of what you're doing. If you look at Amazon, Amazon's one of the biggest companies in the world. And what does it do? Does it manufacture anything? No. All it does is provides a marketplace for people to buy and then get it shipped to their home. A brilliant model. If you look at Netflix, does Netflix, film it? Is it a filming studio? Well, I mean, they do some original stuff, but by and large, what Netflix does is it just streams Hollywood movies to your home, and it bankrupted Blockbuster Video. So any success, and you go on and on, any successful company nowadays goes on what Michael Dell said about 25 years ago, that if you wanted to be successful in the information age, the internet age, if you wanted to dominate the internet, you needed 3 C's: content, commerce, and community. So what does Facebook do? Facebook creates online communities. And the brilliant thing about it is that we're the ones who build the community, but it's Zuckerberg and the shareholders that make the money. They get the profits. We get the perks, they get the profits. So what Starfish did is, let's take that model and give people an opportunity to build a community and profit by it. If you bring more people into the Starfish community, you're going to profit from it. And so that's where the offense comes from. That's how we get paid, as opposed to just being paid, or just a better way to pay, where we get a little cash back. So what is Starfish? Starfish is a payment platform. It's an e-wallet. So you transfer money from your bank account to your e-wallet. It's e-transfer, so there's no fees associated with it. And whenever you go to one of our online merchants, and there's over 150, we got Tim Hortons, Walmart, Starbucks, Petro-Canada, Essos, Sobeys, Amazon. These are some of the biggest companies in the world. There's about 700 in the United States that are on the platform, and that's growing all the time. A couple months ago, IKEA came on board. So right then and there, that this is legit. These are some of the largest companies in the world who have lawyers stacked up like cordwood in the back room there, checking every contract. They would know this was a scam. All this is allowing people to do is to bypass the credit card system and to tap into that $300 billion market. And what we do is when I go to Walmart, and instead of buying, paying by credit or debit, which like 98, 99% of people do, I buy a digital gift card. And by doing so, Walmart doesn't pay the transaction fee to the bank. It is now giving me cash back as a reward for that. It is absolutely brilliant. Up until now, you were not able, whether it be Cash App or Venmo or any of these others, you had to partner up with the banks. You were not allowed to bypass them. Because we're using existing technology with gift cards, we don't have to use the credit cards. Walmart already has a gift card program. I just buy it through the Starfish platform, and then Walmart pays me, a percentage back. It's 1, 2, 5, 10. We have in Canada for customers up to like 10% cash back. Some of your favorite restaurants are on there, like Applebee's or the Keg. And you spend $200 and then you're getting 8% back. That's pretty significant. You're making $16 back. That could be your tip right there. And every time you use it, you're getting cash back, and it's instantaneous. Plus, just last week we introduced a MasterCard gift card, not a credit card, but a gift card. And you can use that through your Apple Pay or your Google Pay, so your e-wallets that already exist. So you buy the MasterCard gift card, put it into your wallet. You can now buy anything that isn't even on our platform. So in essence, you can use Starfish to buy anything in Canada. That's truly amazing. And you never have to use a credit card. Plus, we also have our own marketplace products. We've got exclusive arrangements with different companies for organic coffees and teas and supplements and creams and soaps and things like that. High quality stuff that's good for us. They just launched a new energy drink that actually doesn't have all the sugars and the crap. It's as a matter of fact, the caffeine comes from green tea as opposed to artificial stuff. And you get generous amounts of cash back when you buy through the marketplace, because now you don't even need a brick and mortar store. So it's a brilliant way to pay. And how does this work? Well, we eliminate the credit card fees, $300 billion a year, $125 billion for the merchants, $175 for the consumers. Just by that alone. So if you figure how big is this market, $300 billion a year and growing. So every time we use Starfish, instead of it going to the banks, it gets put back into the Starfish community, and whoever's building community actually profits from it. And the stores love us because we get rid of advertising. If you're buying it from our marketplace, you don't even need a store. So all of this money is being saved. But the mentality of the people who founded Starfish, they said, we don't want to be the company that makes the most money. We want to pay out the most money. The founders of the company are multimillionaires already. They've been doing this for 20 years. They've made their fortune. It's not about them making more. J.P. Morgan said over 100 years ago when he was asked, well, how much is enough? And he said a little bit more. That's not the mentality of these guys. The founders of the company, they're all Christians. And what they want to do is they want to set people free. Orrin Woodward said that his assignment from the Lord is to crush the financial matrix, is to destroy the existing financial system by creating an alternative that makes it obsolete. Now, are we ever going to replace the banks? Highly unlikely. But if we can build a big enough community where you've got millions of people all over the world who are participating in the profits instead of all going to the banks, how many people are we going to get allowed to live the life they've always wanted? So we say, people, join the consumer rebellion, and you can start getting your goals and dreams. Chris Brady, our CEO, he wrote a book called Pails, and it's basically, how do we define what God has called us to do? How do we find what our mission in life is? Some people don't know that. And if you do know, maybe you don't know how to get there. This book will help you. It's a very engaging book, fantastic. And when you join as a member of the Starfish community, you get a copy of both books. So from a consumer perspective, it just makes sense. I mean, if I'm using this 15, 20 times a month, Paul, I can make, with some of the new features that we've added. We had a seminar last night, and we had people saying that they saved over $100 last month alone using Starfish. Would 100 extra bucks help you in covering some costs? Absolutely would. And the subscription fee is $75 for the year, $60 in the States, $75 in Canada. So unlike Costco, which is $130 for the year plus tax, and then you get 2% back only on Costco stuff, and you got to wait all year. With Starfish, it's $75 for the year. There's over 150 stores. Now with the MasterCard gift card, you can shop pretty much anywhere, including Costco. And the cash back is instantaneous. The moment you buy your card, your gift card, the money cash back goes into your wallet. And if like Bass Pro Mill for members is like 17%. So if let's say you spend $500, you're talking like $85 cash back. Well, that just paid for your whole year's subscription in one purchase. And now you can turn around and go use that to go buy a sub at Subway or something like that. It's just amazing. But your people might be asking, are there any comments that are coming in? People got questions or anything like that at this point?
I have no questions yet. I think because you're very clear about what's going on, and so that's probably why.
All right, perfect. So here's how we make money. If you want to join as a platform owner, if you want to just join as a customer and save money, we welcome you to do that. But what are we looking for? We're looking for people who want a way out. Maybe you're not happy with your job. When I met you at Jimmy's place, the reason why Jimmy was so excited about this is because he's not happy with where he works. He works in a steel factory. He's working with coal. He's dirty. It's dark. People aren't very happy there. He works crazy hours. Got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. If I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning, I better be flying somewhere tropical. That's all I'm going to say. Maybe you're not making enough money. There's a lot of people out there who have to work 2 and 3 jobs. Can't get full-time work. You part-time here, part-time there. Plus, if you're an employee, you got to pay the highest amount of taxes. You own your own business, which you get to do when you join the Starfish team. And all of a sudden, you get all the tax write-offs that employees don't get. But here was the most significant thing for me. And this is what sold it for me. We use something called team approach. People are going to say, oh, well, this is a pyramid. No, actually, a traditional corporation that you work for is a pyramid. So I worked for a year for CIBC Visa many, many years ago. And there was the CEO, and then there was the president, and then there were vice presidents and directors and senior managers and stuff and nobody got to move up unless, they replaced someone else, and the person above you always made more than you. This is, in fact, the exact opposite. Because first of all, what are we doing? What is our product? Our product is what you're already buying, but cheaper. In a traditional network marketing, multi-level marketing company, it's product-based, usually overpriced, sometimes good, sometimes not. But you have to buy product, and you have to sell product to other people. What this is, it's a subscription-based model on a platform that allows you to buy what you're already buying, because whether you use Starfish or not, you're going to be getting gas within the next week or so. I got to go do it tonight, as a matter of fact. And I get to do it cheaper. But, and that's, the drawback to network marketing. But what this is called compensated community, because we're all working together. So what happens is that, whoever is on there, and if someone is interested, you can kind of put your, say that, hey, I'd like more information, just put it in the comments section. And so let's say, Frank and Beth, decide to get in, and you get into, and but then we have someone else, and Bobby gets in. You don't even know who Bobby is, but Bobby goes into your team. Every time they use the platform, it generates point volume. Customers get cash back. Members also get point volume, and point volume is what we get paid on. And so the more people who join the community, we're all kind of like in a chain link, the more PV that is generated. We all get paid by working together on building the team. So I go and show a few people, and then Jimmy shows a few people, and then we have other people who are showing people, and we're all putting people at the bottom of the team who are generating PV. So that's where the leverage comes from. In a lot of network marketing companies, you've got to go out and you got to build it, and then you got to show your people, and you got to run around and you got to help them build. There's no time for that, and people end up quitting. But we have people who join this, they get in, they hold their spot, and all of a sudden, in a month or two, there's 5 to 10 new people underneath them. They don't even know who they are, but they're getting paid from them. There's no other business in the world that does that. If you do landscaping, like my son and I did today, nobody else is going to cut grass and then pay me to do it or pay me for it. You open up a pizza parlor, you can't go down the street and ask your competition for advice or something like that. But we have a system to plug into where we're all working together. And so last night we were at a seminar out in Cambridge, and our upline leaders were the ones who were presenting. They were giving us all their secrets. And this is a couple who's been making 40, 50 grand a month for the past 15 years. We all work together to help one another. And so what do? We invite people into the community. We get them saving money on gas and groceries and stuff that they're already buying. We ask people to join, and then we go out and share this with other people who also want to save money. And the bigger a community that you develop, and by the way, we have training, we have thousands of audios that you have access to that will help you understand how to contact someone, how to present this to someone. I've been doing this for a long time, so I can talk about this. But if you kind of get started, when I went to Jimmy's, Jimmy wouldn't have known what to say. So that's why I came and did it for him. I used my own gas, my own time to help him build his business. And when someone signed up, he got paid for it. Why? Because I also get paid for it. We all get paid for it together. You tell me another business where they do that for you. It's not going to happen. And it's
something only God's children would do. That's only something God's children would come up with.
Right.
Which is the case in this case, yes. Which is why it is a very important show.
Yes.
For all the people that are being squeezed right now, and they're going to be squeezed more and more and more. So we do need to have alternatives, and this is one.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here's kind of the potential. So here's the PV that's generated, and it varies from person. It depends on how much you buy from the marketplace, how many subscriptions you get, et cetera, et cetera. But let's say we have 20 people in the first team that we all build together. You may have put 2 people into that. And then you start a second team where you're the leader. We teach you how to do that. You start finding people that you can mentor, and you get another 10 people. So you got about 30 people treating this as a business. The leader income will produce about $2,000 a month residually, which means that you're going to get paid whether you're working or not. There's no other, industry in the world that you can do that out there. And if you think about, does Jeff Bezos have to be at Amazon to make money? No, because he's got a system that's making money for him. Does Elon Musk have to be at X or Tesla to be making money? No, because he's got a system in place. We also have a system, except we're not producing electric cars that, blow up when it gets rainwater on them or something like that. We are producing savings for people by taking money away from the banks and putting it back into your own pocket. You are participating in the consumer rebellion. And the bigger a community you build, if you were to join my team tonight and you went out and you built a bigger organization than I have by having more teams and more people in those teams, you'll get paid more money than me It's 100% based on merit. There's no, it's not positional. It is completely meritocratic. Now, you don't have to stop there. Like I said, Paul and Tara Ferruzzi, who are our upline mentors, and they're the ones who brought us into this business, they retired from their jobs 12 years ago at age 30 years old. And Paul and Tara, they homeschool their kids. They have 5 of them. They've created a homeschool co-op through their church. And he makes enough money by doing this, by working 10 to 15 hours a week, doing what I'm doing right now. You know, you can't really get hurt doing what I'm doing right now. It's not like I'm going to fall off a ladder by building this. You know, I'm not going to trip and fall into a vat of something. So, you know, how do you join the Consumer Rebellion? Well, become a customer. Everybody starts out as that, and $75 for the year. By the way, you get 30 days money back guarantee. If you say, oh, you know, I don't like this isn't working, fine, get your money back. And step 2, you'll buy the book kit where you get the 2 books, $70 there. And then step, the third step, really, although you do these at the same time, is Royal Starfish is your business subscription. It's $75 a month. But you get all the business write-offs by having your own business. And if we run with this and we, you know, build a big team, we've had people who have gone leader in a month. Well, $2,000 a month, and you're going to pay $75 plus a couple of other subscriptions. I think it's a well worthwhile investment. My wife and I, when we came back into the business about a year and a half ago, we were profitable in our second month. And we're going to help you do that. And you're going to build this as big as you want.
And they can email you.
They can email me. Absolutely.
Let's give them the email right here. To join Starfish, you can email Darryl at rabbi@alttnmessianic.com.
This is,
and you can pause it and copy it down.
This is as simple as it gets. It's a no-brainer. Why? Because you're going to save money.
It's a real opportunity.
Well, it is, and it's an opportunity to take money away from the institution that's enslaving people. And so that's why I'm so excited about this. And, you know, we're looking for people who, you know, realize that there's something else out there, that they're called to something different, that there's a lifestyle that they can live that is not determined by someone else. If you're working for someone else, they tell you what to do. They tell you when you can have lunch. They tell you what your salary is or what your pay is. I don't want anybody telling me what I'm worth. I want to be able to determine that myself. And if you think that there's security in a job nowadays, you haven't been paying attention to what's going on out there. This country is under judgment. And you can tell that by the results of the last election. And things are about to get a lot more difficult. But for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see, you look at Proverbs 1. And what does Solomon tell his son? Get wisdom. We are going to provide you with the best training system in the world on how to become a leader, how to become a better husband or wife, how to become a better parent, how to become a better person through all of this. We're going to teach you life skills. And in doing so, it is going to equip you to go out and find more people to build a huge community and lead people to freedom. It all dovetails together. Why am I so passionate about this? This package 10 years ago cost $175 to get. You get this with your Royal Starfish subscriptions, all digital now. You can listen to all the audios. You get the book. You can still order this, actually, if you're, you know, one of those people. I prefer to have a book in my hand. You can see behind me. I'm a bit passionate about books. But you have all that included with your Royal Starfish subscription. And we are going to set millions of people free, Paul. Get them out of financial slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, I think that's a beautiful cause. It's a beautiful cause, beautiful purpose. It's righteous. and it is one remedy uh, to help get through what's coming. I
Yeah.
mean, in the end, it we win in the end, but before the end, it's going to get worse. And it's the
Hmm.
good people that are coming together, coming up with solutions like this. And we're
Well,
almost we're almost at our hour.
and when you think about it, how many businesses with, 5-figure a month, even 6-figure a month income can you start for about $250? That's what your initial investment is in this business, is $250. You get the app for a year, you get the 2 books, your back end, your Royal Starfish subscription is 75 per month. We're going to help you make more than that probably within your first month if you decide that you want to share this with a few people. There's no drawback to this. You can't lose with this. And it's like the founders say, only God could have given this to them.
And if you get other people in, it will actually turn into an income,
Yes.
a monthly income. And that's where the community is important here. This is a community solution
Yeah.
to save to save money for your friends and your family and your neighbors.
Hmm.
And we're supposed to love our neighbors, and we do, don't we?
Yeah.
Which is will be our topic on our next show. Um,
Hmm.
the book, The Red Mark on God's Forehead, and I look forward to that. And this week, I'm not sure if your presentation was finished, but
Yeah, we're pretty much wrapped up there. So
okay, perfect. Because your wife is on next week,
okay,
and
wonderful.
she has into education pods, and I look forward to that conversation as well because I do know some people that started education pods in Niagara
Hmm.
Falls where I live, and
Hmm.
so I really look forward to hearing from her about that. Both of you are just amazing. I mean, you're both just God's children, 100%. It's just wonderful that I got to meet you both. But that'll be our topic next week. Will be the school pods, and
Hmm.
then Daryl's coming back, and we're going to talk about his book. And it's on the ticker. You just have to rewind it or pause it, and you can get all the information. His email, the website for his book. If you would like to read the book before we have a show on it, you'll have an opportunity to read through the book and be informed and be able to make comments and. Because that's one of my favorite topics, and it must be one of Daryl's favorite topics too. It's like God just keeps putting all these beautiful people into my world. I just love it. I feel
Amen.
so blessed. But I want to thank you for coming on the show, Daryl, and sharing very important and life changing system
Mm.
that the more people you get involved, the more freedom you'll have and less dependency on these debts that we've been enslaved.
Yeah.
So he's an offering. He's like Moses offering freedom to the Jews from Egypt, and so let's hope that we reach the right people
Hmm.
and free the right people, so they can help others with the goodness inside of them.
Yep.
Thank you all for
If anyone
any
is
last
interested,
words.
yeah, please email me. Send me your contact information, and we'll get in touch. We'll talk to you. We'll get together. We can jump on a web call or something like that. Whatever it is. We want you to join the community. We're looking for some hungry people who want to make a difference in their own lives. We want to help you live the life that you've always wanted.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're here for. We're here for the truth, which is not going to be allowed soon enough. I'm sure we're going to
No.
have to be called the misinformation table.
Yes.
But it is May 11th. It's Mother's Day. We love you, mothers, mama bears. We wouldn't be here without you, and with a little help from Dad, of course. But we appreciate you. We love you. We honor you, and we thank you for being the most important thing in our world without our Creator uh, granting us the honor of having a partner in life. And thank you, Darryl. And I look forward to seeing you again, talking to you on the next podcast about your book. That
Mhm.
will be also very fascinating for me. And thank you, everyone at home, for joining us on the Truth Table.